It is with great pleasure that we welcome you to St. Nicholas Abbey. Built in 1658 by Colonel Benjamin Berringer, St. Nicholas Abbey is one of the island's oldest surviving plantations. With its original boundaries still intact, the plantation encompasses over 400 acres of rolling sugarcane fields, tropical gullies, mahogany forest, and formal gardens. Set amongst towering cabbage palms is the plantation's great house, a Jacobean mansion. Unusual elements for a Caribbean home, they were faithfully added in keeping with plans thought to have been brought from England, where the Dutch-influenced architectural style was popular at the time. This attention to detail has made St. Nicholas a rare and stunning example of the 17th century style, further emphasized by its prominence as one of just 3 remaining Jacobean mansions in the Western Hemisphere.
Today we're here at the St. Nicholas Abbey, one of Barbados' attractions. And we're speaking with Miss Maureen Phillips, who's the operation manager at the Nicholas Abbey. Maureen, can you tell us, what is your tourism product?
Our tourism product basically is that we offer the guests a view of what an old sugar plantation would have been like back in the early days. This plantation was actually built in the 1650s by Colonel Benjamin Barringer, and he came down and located the property, and we were actually growing sugar for some time. Then in 2006, when my current boss bought it, we were not making rum at the point in time. What he did, he restored our mill and started to crush sugarcane here and started to make rum. So now we have a 5-year, a 10, and a 15-year rum. Our 15-year is a gold award. It just went up to the award in Berlin. And then we have the 12, we have the white rum, which actually is our award-winning white rum 2012.
So you're not only looking at the attraction of itself, but you're also like providing your product by offering rum to your guests, and also you export.
We export. We don't do a lot of export. We actually have a small export market. We're actually very niche. We actually don't sell on the local market. You have to come to St. Nicholas Abbey and experience it. So you would not go into a normal shop and buy our rum. It's just strictly sold here. It's very high in quality because we offer a single cask rum. It's not a blended rum like most of the other places, like all the other places in Barbados. We offer a single cask rum. Very, very high in quality.
So besides the rum, as you use that to that you offer your tourists, what else do you offer tourists when they come to St. Nicholas Abbey?
Once you come here, you get a tour of the property. You get a tour, or you actually if you want to walk around on your own, you can actually walk around with the park. There's so much here. There's something for the whole family. You have the birds, you have just simply the beautiful flowers, because we have beautiful grounds with lots of flowers that are, typically that you see all around Barbados. Very knowledgeable tour guides, which gives you very rich history of back then, some of the slave times, and life on a plantation. We also actually offers a new movie, and that movie tells you what life was like in Barbados in the 1930s. That was after the abolition of slavery, so you will have seen the persons learning to adjust to the life growing out without actually being under slave conditions.
Okay. Are there any challenges that you face when it comes to providing this service or this attraction, when it comes to persons who are physically challenged? Are there any challenges that you meet? Not only physically challenged for persons, but also for the environment of itself, like the amount of tourists that you would cater to per day. Are there any challenges surrounding that?
First, I would look at what I could say is the challenges that we will probably face with persons that are physically challenged. Well, it's such a beautiful property, and we're wild. We're talked about all over the world, and because of that, lots of people want to come. The physical challenge would definitely want to come, and because we're an old plantation, there's not very lot we want to do, because it's a museum in a sense, and we don't want to make too much changes with it. So we kind of keep it in its natural state. So some of the areas we have are not really suitable. For instance, getting into the house, you have a couple of steps to get into the house with a particular challenge. Otherwise, you throw the property, you can more or less wheel around and so forth, basically, but generally it is, there's still something there for the whole family in terms of challenge, whether a challenge or not. Other challenge that we might face in terms of trying hard to convert the property, you have to be very careful, because lots of the stuff, the items that we have here are not, cannot be replaced. You have things that we had from the 1700s, from the 1800s. You cannot replace those items. Once they're gone, they're damaged, they're gone. So you have to be very mindful that you have to keep people away from some of the cabinets where we have china in the house that's goes back to 1810. That's quite some time. There's no way you can ever restore that kind of china. And then some of the paintings in the house and everything. So it's really, you have to be mindful, have to be very cautious. Despite you have large groups, you have to make sure you have a small amount of controllable amount of persons in that group. So those are some of the challenges that we face in terms of preserving the product of the south of the house.
So that in the sense also tends to control the bottlenecks that you will be faced with.
Yeah, that is one of the, and sometimes some persons might have, they might not understand why you can't just swap in a chair and furniture we have in houses over 200 years. You really, really want to keep that. So you don't really want people to, you still want people to enjoy it, but yes, still be graceful about what they do.
Okay. Maureen, I observed the lovely landscape you have here at but can you tell us how many exits do you have in case there's any emergency you're met with on the property while doing your tour?
Okay. Really and truly, the property is very, very open. It's a completely open area. So we have 3 main exits. We have one, the main entrance where you will come through. Then we have a side entrance where we actually let all transportation, workable transportation come through that. And then we have a back entrance where that would be more or less like our tractors or trucks or anything that would be working around the fields when the property comes through. So we actually have 3 exits here, but it's typically the property is completely open.
To tie into our previous question, Maureen, how knowledgeable is your staff when it comes to dealing with the emergency? How do they handle that?
Well, we're actually all trained in first aid. It's one of the programs that has to go on throughout the year, because we're dealing with a large number of tourists, from all over the world. They're on the property, there can be accidents and, at any point in time. So what we do consistently is to train the staff on first aid. So at least until the paramedics get to the property. So they're pretty knowledgeable in that area.
Well, I see your manager, he usually spends money making sure that he's
there's lots of training that, the other training that actually goes on in the property, because you have to be very good in the competitive world out there. There are other people that are actually competing with us, so we have to make sure that we are on top of everything here.
Would you say you are attracting the local population here?
Very much so, and more so we're getting a lot of Caribbean people. We're actually getting lots of people from Trinidad. Really, really surprised among the Trinidadians we get constantly coming to Barbados and coming here. There's not a week where we don't get at least 10 or 12 Trinidadians, which is very, very good. And we normally get lots of locals on Sunday, but they're looking for some place to go. So Sundays is a very good day.
But when we look at your tourism product and with the attraction of itself, would you say that you more cater to the European tourists, so the British or the ones from Germany?
Really, we get a lot more British tourists. And our house is actually a very English home. We get a lot of British, but we also have, because it's such a good attraction, it has lots to offer. We get people from all over. So some people come because they like the rum. Some people come because they want to have a view of the English home. Some people simply come because they want to be part, look at the gardens, and simply because they want to relax. It's a very peaceful, tranquil place where you can relax and enjoy it. So sometimes you get people here from the time you open until the time you're ready to close. They just sit and enjoy St. Nicholas Abbey. So it offers that peaceable feeling. So people have different reasons why they come to St. Nicholas Abbey.
Okay, Maureen, I want to thank you for taking time out to share with us the information and view the museum of the St. Nicholas Abbey. I was really amazed by the beauty. The landscape is so well manicured. So once again, let me say thank you, and I wish you success in your future endeavors here at the St. Nicholas Abbey.
Okay, thank you very much. And it was a pleasure also doing an interview with you.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Beautiful, beautiful Barbados.